and I will try to just find a few questions here, and then of course you can type in the chat and ask yours. Um, this production is massive. I think it's like a never-ending story for us, because it has so many small things and logistics and related issues for packing and things like that. We want to protect everything. You know that we have this lovely tube that holds the playmat very well, but these need to be protected as well. And then of course we need to attach a barcode somehow in this one. And because if we don't attach a barcode, then human centers won't know what this is about. And we cannot add the barcode in here. So because it will ruin your tube, and maybe you just want to collect it or something like
Or
that.
if you try
So that,
to get it back and for some reason it's stick the wrong way, you can damage the tube and wouldn't want that. So all those little bits that complicate things along the way. That's some of them have not been foreseen. Some of them we have.
Sometimes this goes back and forth, and we need just to make sure, right? There's also a lot of now we are partnering with Asmodee North America for this game, and there is a lot of things that we need to follow very carefully. So markings and age and all of that, and it goes also a long way to understand better how to mark our products and how to make the box work and things like that. But anyway, this is just an introduction of small things that we can happen during a day. There will be something very interesting that I will spoil you about the new website. We know that you like to know as much as possible what is happening behind the scenes. And we do normally a digest. Of course, we will not talk about these small things because probably just a few amount of people will care about how it works. A lot of people just want to have their game and play. But on the new website, we're creating a new section, which is called like a timeline or a feed, where it looks like Twitter somehow, but it's not related to any social network. It's just information on our website. And then you can check whatever games you like or you're following. And at that point, you will see more updates like day to day. Because if we are working on the specs, you will see probably a photo of our Excel file that we are working on all the configuration for that. Or if Daniel independently is working on another thing like a punch board for seasons, then he will upload and say, hey, I'm doing the blitz for seasons. And it will be like a proactive feed where all the team can actually join and talk about what they're doing. And you will be able to follow closely what happens behind the scene. I'm not saying on a day-to-day basis, but it will be probably as soon as we just want to share a small thing we're working on.
Is still your intent to airship pledge to select backers?
Yes, of course. But before that, we need to do assembly. So normally what it happens is that we will receive a couple of mass production copies. That is basically once all the product is done, then they will get a couple of boxes out and they will put things inside manually. Then they will send over to us, and while they send it to us, they will do a testing called like the shake room, where you normally shake the boxes to understand if by transporting them it will create some damages, some to the insert, to the structurally, but to the product. But Panda is very good at this, and they have a margin of error that is out of this world. It's less than 1%, so it's very good. Once we receive those copies, we will analyze them and then we will approve the assembly. So for example, in this game for Tuned, they were assembled not exactly like this, but there was a sticker sheet, which is a yellow, a white stripe going all over the box, right, on the front. So when we open up, we're also thinking about your experience opening this game. So that means that if you open up and you will see just a white stripe, it won't be that romantic as seeing the rulebook and then the board and then the white stripe, right? So it's all of that. And once that is done, we will send 20 mass production copies that we're assembling from the assembly line. So when the thing is happening, to selected backers. And this will not affect our timeline because regardless, we will just freight the games. And while the games are on the boat, we will receive backers' feedback about this product. And at that point, if there is any big mistake, we can still fix it, air freight whatever components we need to include in the box, and that will be it, right?
Mora says, so you're not working with Lucky Dog for Darwin?
No, Lucky Duck was an incredible collaboration for Tangarden. Then at this point, we have signed with Asmodee North America. They will distribute our English version, and then we have several other distributors. But that will happen on a later date. So what we are doing is that we are focusing on whatever we need to bring, and then there will be the remaining of the production for all the partners to come and pick it up. But that will probably happen after Chinese New Year, so that means around a month they will be picking up the copies. And we are organizing the retail release probably to be on after spring or something like that, maybe for Gen Con. We're trying to understand what is the best time frame to launch this game in retail yet.
Alright, and Antaresco asks in Spanish, I'll translate for everyone. I've read the latest updates about Darwin's game, and it seems impossible for it to be finished by this year.
Why? Let's hope not.
We had that. It will be for December.
Yeah, I mean, you will not have in your hands on December. That's probably not it. But we will put the games. The games will be finished on December, and then we'll go on assembly line, which is getting the components inside the boxes, shrink wrap, putting on cartons, and then on pallets. That's it. And that normally takes around 1 week or two. Panda is flagging us as very important project, so they are trying to help us as much as we can. As much as they can. They have been very communicative with us. We had a great meeting yesterday, trying to understand to the minute what we need to do, and we fix it on the dates that we published on this update. So we wanted to make sure that it was okay, and unless something happens that is out of our control or out of the manufacturer's control, we should be fine to freight this one before Chinese New Year. Yeah. Right, so what else? So excited for this. Take the time you need. Thank you for that. When I was working on this update, I didn't know what the reaction could be. Despite the fact that we always try to, so most of our day will be working on games, right? And of course, we have like a pipeline of what is more important and what is like further down the road. So depending on how important it is, more people will join forces to just accomplish what we have managed to decide for that certain week. And the idea behind it is that despite the fact that we're working, at the end of the day, we probably just do something else, right? Watching Netflix or go out for dinner and stuff. But you're always inside my mind saying, yes, I'm enjoying a little bit of my day, but I should go back to it, right? And there is this constant feeling that we need to perform well. But we appreciate your patience, and we appreciate the fact that every time we launch something, you understand and you put yourself in our situation, despite the fact that you are very important, because without you, this could not be possible. So everybody says, like, what is like being your own boss? I'm not my own boss. My backers are my bosses, and that's true.
That is true.
The fee says, Gon, as your boss, if you get DJ on the boat before Chinese New Year, you can have a vacation. Thank you, Cole. We have many other projects that are undergoing too at the same time. We need to get our good plan for 2023. I don't think we will launch too many campaigns. I probably will be a couple. You know about Soda Pop. We haven't revealed the games yet. We will do it later this year probably. And the other one is still unannounced, but it's very big. From Tandonio, 1 hour ago says, what specifically will you be doing to prevent these issues that this project suffered from happening to your development future projects? That's a very good question. We have promised ourselves that we will not launch a campaign until we are ready to go. Normally, what we do is we work on the pre-production of the game, we work on a draft of the rules, and then we launch, and then something happens. Eventually, it will be a great campaign or a very huge success for us. Depending on that, we will unlock a series of stretch goals. We normally prepare a few, but then we hear you. we try to understand what you want to see, and we develop them really quickly in terms of illustrations and things like that along the campaign. So there's a lot going for back and forth between the team behind the scenes, and then we normally release the goals, and that needs time to just be digested, be tested, and be refined, the graphical side and all of that. And then there is the rules. And the rules for Darwin's Journey specifically have been one of the most difficult ones. And we need to say thank you to Jonathan Cox, because he's been the pillar of this rulebook. He's been playing the game a lot, and which that is great. And he has been writing all the rules, and then the rules went into 3 different graphic designs until we decided on one. And then we had to decide if what we want to do. Do we want to be very exhaustive with what we are doing, or eventually we want just to be more minimal and streamlined? And then at the end we decided to just give more examples and give more things to the context, so you can understand better the game. And the rulebook came out to be like 36 pages, I don't remember. And of course that takes time. If we can get all of that effort into doing it before we launch, it means that we have to invest more time and budget, because we won't be able to sell the games until they are almost done. So at that point, it will be mainly a crowdfunding that will be shorter, so we can meet the deadline. But if the games are pre-produced and the rulebooks are done, we just need to start that production and then work on the retail. So we are splitting productions in 2. And this is happening already in seasons. We are doing Kickstarter production first, and then we'll do retail production afterwards. Despite the fact that it's not super good economically wise, because production of scale, it means that the more we add, the less it will cost, so it will be better. But in this case, we are taking this risk during this year to see how it works. And if that works fine, we'll keep the model. Do we have any other question, or I keep reading on?
Did you read the questions from Tandonium?
I don't know.
He asked about what to prevent, right? How to prevent that. Then he says, do you feel the changes into this climate that impacts crowdfunding and project fulfillment will reduce the scale, or how many projects you will bring to crowdfunding?
I think everybody's rescaling somehow in this industry. Of course, there are very big companies that have the means and the experience, not only the experience of doing it, but a backbone, right? 10 years, 15 years of being out there, even more. So they already know the drill, and they're not getting scared about this. We did somehow, because of the raise of costs, and it feels like a family now. And every risk I'm taking personally, I'm involving everybody. So I didn't feel like taking the risk, and that's why COVID just slowed us down so much. We didn't do any reprints, we didn't do any new releases for almost 2 years. And that makes you almost disappear from the map, right? And then thankfully we launched the season, and you rewarded us with great result. So that means that despite the fact that we took some decisions, it's not affecting your perception over us so far. It's impacting in general, yes, but I believe that we're trying to accommodate to this new scene, and I believe that we're now starting to get used to what it will be. So productions won't be 45 days anymore. So that was a great thing, because you can take a lot of time, and then you will do production, and in 2 months you will have a game ready. Now it's not like that. It probably take 4, 5, 6 months, depending on the materials you're using, if there is supply for them. So we just need to understand that we need to do things much more in advance now.
And he had one more question. He said, if you were stopped using crowdfunding as means of making games, what would you personally or business-wise miss about crowdfunding?
Well, that's a good question, because
a little bit of this we will miss, because this is direct engagement with the people who back our projects, and a direct way of communication to make games we both love.
That's true. There is a thing about being a small startup, and is that you need to be very careful about expenses. So everybody work from their home. Even some of the team members, I've never seen them physically yet, and that means that it will happen next year, which is awesome. But at the same time, we try to be always involved, always speaking with each other and things like that. Bringing more people to it, it feels much more warming over here. So if we have things to share with 7,000 more people over a campaign, that makes all our job much more uh, enlightening. Not enlightening, but rewarding. That is it. That is the word. So we'll probably miss that, but I have to say, we won't use crowdfunding forever. As soon as we feel like we are economically steady to just embark on an investment like it was Darwin's Journey production, we will definitely do it. And then again, if we do have a strange idea like Soda Pop and an experiment we want to do, we'll probably go on crowdfunding because it creates that beautiful window of communication where we can understand what you're liking about it and what you're not liking, and we can learn much more in those 2-3 weeks than in 1 year trying to think how retail behaves.
Photomom says, I have seen some recent Kickstarter campaigns where the designers are producing the games locally. Small games, really simple components. Would it be possible for you to do that?
All right, so during COVID, when I decided that we would not be working on productions, but instead on creation, there was a huge part of the team that started to do world building, to work on new games, on new concepts. And I took several hours of my week to understand how we can change this, because we were scared about freight prices never going down again, and we had to find solutions. And I tried to look for solutions in Germany, in Poland, even in Vietnam. And seems like somehow in Europe everything costs much more, so that we will have to reflect that over the product price. And you are so used right now to what the prices are that if we charge for a 29 euros game, we charge 49 or 50, it will be probably somehow strange to you, and you will feel like we are trying to get more profit out of it.
Yes.
But instead, it's just Europe is very expensive. And there is the second thing is that the for manufacturing purposes, China is many years ahead of other countries. Every time we have an idea, so the Darwin's Journey wooden lenses, which is basically a wooden sandwich with a plastic layer in the center to just remind of a lens, but have a structure for a game to work, for the meeple to stand out. And to me, that was just nonsense, because doing a proper lens, you cannot sell 24 lenses for 15 euros. That's impossible, because each lens will be much more complex in design, and then you have to charge 80 euros for something that is improving the way you play,
but it's not a
but
necessity.
not drastically. Correct. It's not a necessity. So just going there and say, okay, I want to do the Match Bros collection. I want to do a travel suitcase, and inside putting the games, and the games you need to push with the finger. That all of that things, it's almost inimaginable in other countries. So
and they solve it
they
quite
have
fast.
yeah.
I'm really happy that most of the people have been very positive and supporting and understanding of everything.